My name is Hannah, and this is my year of less stuff. Hey y'all, it is I, Hannah Louise Poston, and it's time for another Empties video. But before I get into the meat of the video, I'm trying not to get into the habit of talking about my makeup look at the start of every video. I think because often when I do that, it's because I'm on some level self-conscious about it, or I'm worried people are going to take it the wrong way or something. So a lot of times I mention it as a caveat, and I'm trying not to do that. I feel like it's a lot cooler to just be like, hi, here I am on camera. And in fact, it would be cooler for me to do that than to do what I am going to do today, which is to mention it because I think there's something cool about it and I just want to point it out. I have no eye makeup on today except for mascara on my upper lashes. And honestly, I had some other stuff to do today. So I put on pretty much this exact look. I went about my business, and then I was planning to put on more makeup before filming just to like define my face a little bit more, to have a stronger look for filming. But then when I sat down, I was feeling it. I was feeling the freshness, and I was like, let me just go ahead and film my empties video with this fresh face on, and then I can kind of talk about it at the beginning of the video because it's something that I often end up doing. I feel like it's fresh, distinctive, a little bit editorial, but very, very easy and very, very, very everyday. And it does end up giving that like slightly watercolory, but also a little bit like a splinky bird that just hatched from its shell, or maybe like a splinky baby reptile that just hatched from its egg, because of the lack of eye makeup and because I'm so pale and my lashes are generally so pale. So even though they're a little bit defined, I still feel like I've got that like splinky squinty look. But generally it's like that, strong brows, and quite a flushed cheek. And I'm kind of excited today because I'm testing out this blush that Lauren gave me. She was sent it in PR. It's the Covergirl Clean Fresh Cream Blush, and it's in the shade Flushed. And it's just like a coral. It's quite a bright coral and not the kind of blush that I usually go for, but I'm so into cream blush lately. And I didn't think that I would actually keep any of these. She gave me actually all of the colors, and I just decided to test this one to see if I like the formula. There's something about it. It's really the color that I turn when I'm like sicky or like quite flushed. And there's something about that with a very dewy application that I'm really, really living for today. And then I put on Magic Hour, the Cosmetics Infinite Lip Cloud, to kind of like match that and enhance it. So I do feel like I look kind of like an editorial and not like an animated woman who should be like speaking to you about her empties. And yet that is what we're going to do. But I did want to mention it to you just because it's distinctive, it's unique, it's not what I always come on camera with, but I am kind of fond of it. And isn't that what we're here to discuss? Our fondness for unique makeup looks? Or is that just me? Let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. There are so many empties right now, especially given that it may have been an entire month at this point since I last did an empties video, but I feel like it's been a little bit less than a month. I have just been producing empties at a rapid rate of speed and in a way that reminds me of the way that I produced empties at the beginning of my no-buy year. And it's probably for similar reasons. I'm working on not taking on too much stuff. I've also tried to be disciplined about putting things into my backups box and waiting until there's space for them before actually putting them into rotation, so that I'm not just like trying to use up like 10 of the same type of product all at once and never making a dent and just feeling overwhelmed. That feeling is part of what has led me to realize that I want to go through a year of less stuff, because I don't particularly want to have backups. I'm doing it right now because it sort of gives me like a false sense of less stuff. But I'm kind of on my way to an actual reality of having less stuff. For the time being, it's nice to just work on a couple of things at a time. And I did mention this in a Get Ready With Me that will have gone up before this, but it was a very, very long try to get ready with me. So I'm sure there are people who are watching this empties who did not watch that. That's why I'm re-explaining it. In that video, I just talked about how I've been producing a lot of empties by focusing on using one thing at a time in each category. So the best example is face oil, because face oil is something that usually takes kind of a long time to use up. Even though I use a lot of face oil just in general, I tend to layer them. I'll usually use 2 face oils at a time, both morning and night. I use between 2 and maybe 6 drops depending on how beefy the oil is. So I probably go through them faster than most people, but even I find that a bottle of face oil is a type of product that sticks around for a long, long time. So this one was about half done at the beginning of the year. It's the Elemis Superfood Facial Oil. I believe this was sent to Simbri in PR, and then she gave it to me. And I love it. Unfortunately, I don't have the box, and the ingredients of it were on the box, but it's a bunch of just nice, lovely oils It has a verdant smell. It has kind of like a crushed leaves smell. My skin really, really loved this oil. Like, I tend to think an oil is an oil is an oil, but once in a while one will come along where I'm like, oh, my skin, it just really loves it. It just feels soft, it feels nourished, it feels a little more glowy when I'm using XYZ. And that was the case with this oil. Not enough for me to buy it. I think Elemis is a pretty, pretty high priced brand, pretty bougie brand. I didn't look up the exact price of this oil, but I just know how the cookie crumbles in beauty. It's probably not a $10 oil is what I'm saying. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. If I didn't receive PR, if I didn't receive gifts from my friends who receive PR from time to time, if I were just a normal consumer and I was responsible for buying all of the face oils that I ever put on my skin, at this point, I would probably be buying the Erin's Faces Tamanu oil. I feel like that's the beauty powerhouse like of a lifetime for me. I love that oil so much. It's partly because I have sensitive and redness prone skin and irritation prone skin, acne prone skin, and that oil helps so much with all of that. So I would be buying that oil kind of as a treatment though. It's so beefy that it's not really like an all-purpose face oil in the way that I think of that category. For my all-purpose face oil, if I were buying it for myself and replacing it all the time, I'd probably buy the marula oil from The Ordinary. So even though my skin really, really loved this, that doesn't mean that I feel like it would be worth the amount of money that it costs to me. But I was very glad to focus on it as my main face oil to try to turn it into an empty, because I'm trying to reduce the number of my things, and to me the best way to do that is to use stuff up. So since the beginning of the year, no matter what else I use, in the evening or in the morning when I'm putting on my skincare, I always used this. I prioritized it, I basically panned it, and I used it up, loved it so much, kind of sorry to see it go, but very happy to have reduced my stuff number by 1 by focusing on using up this oil. This Joe and I used up. This was pretty recently in my reckoning. I think it was in one of the December reckonings when I was trying to scrape through the very last of the Purgatory box. It was given to me by the people who run a little K beauty boutique, like a brick and mortar store in downtown LA, near where I shop for fabric for my business. It's called Urbanique. It's a beautiful little shop. I've gone in there a bunch of times and they gave me a couple of things to test out for a review. So this was one of them. It's the Mihs 35, spelled MIHYS 35, mild and gentle hair and body wash. And we whizzed through it because Joe and I were both using it. It has a nice sort of citrusy, very soapy citrusy smell. It really smelled to me like baby shampoo, and it also felt like baby shampoo, like Johnson & Johnson. Like that's how it felt on the skin. That's how it felt. I did wash my hair with it one time just for review purposes. I wanted to make sure that I could report back on it as a shampoo, and it definitely cleaned my hair, and that was it. It was just like a very straightforward, gentle cleanse, but it didn't feel like it did much nourishing. So my hair ended up kind of very, very, very clean. It's like squeaky clean and kind of tangled after that, which was fine for me. I probably wouldn't like buy it and then use it as consistently as a body wash and shampoo, but it was nice. I'm really grateful to have had the chance to try it. And now I am completely out of body wash. I have none that have come in PR that I still have to use up, none that I bought that I still have to use up. And I still haven't bought one. I've just been using Joe's bar soap. He buys like the Dr. Bronner's bar soap, citrus bar soap. So I've been using that. It's perfectly fine, but under my rules about replacements, technically I could make a sanctioned replacement purchase of a nice body wash just for me to use. And I may do that. I'm considering it. I'm trying not to be hasty because I'm on kind of a low buy right now, kind of a replacements only low buy, a gentle attempt to only replace things if I even do that. So I'm trying to, give myself some time to think about it, but I might do it, especially if I can do it in person. If I'm sort of walking around, if I happen to go into a shop nearby where I live or on my travels, and I just see one that I would like to have and use, I'll probably buy it. And it's nice to kind of have that space and that freedom and know that I could do that and that I wouldn't be like adding stuff on top of stuff in a certain category to my life. I only used 3 face masks. No, there's a bunch at the bottom. I haven't been using very many sheet masks just in the past couple of weeks, but I was still using them heavily towards the end of December and the beginning of January. Maybe that's why I've had so much dry skin lately. Maybe it's because I kind of laid off of the sheet masks. Maybe I should start reusing my sheet masks more. Not reusing them, not like using ones that I've already used. Maybe I should restart using my sheet masks. So I used up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sheet masks. I liked these Orgade ones. Those were party favors from Simbri's Party. I love the Dr. Jart ceramidin ones. I got these from Yes Style. This was, I don't even remember how this was. Ebenel, hyaluronic collagen. I'm sure it was fine. I'm sure they were all fine. You guys know how I go. I don't really like proactively review sheet masks unless there's something really distinctively amazing or horrible to tell you. And there is that to tell you about this. It's the Milk Feel Exfoliating and Cleansing Pad from Lapkos. I have a number of Lapkos sheet masks and they're great. The actual sheet masks with the serum, just like normal sheet masks, actually really, really lovely. I like the quality of those and I was impressed by Lapkos until I tried this. It says on the back, embossed 100% cotton pad gently exfoliates dead skin while breaking down oil and dirt collected throughout the day. So it's supposed to be like a one-time use only, slightly exfoliating pad with some sort of like, I mean, it says milk protein extract is on it, bamboo water, broccoli extract. I thought it was gonna be like a lactic acid pad or a glycolic acid pad or something like that. But when I took it out, it was this gross big pad. It smelled like milky, but not in a cute way. And it was covered in crud, like curdled milk looking crud that you can still kind of see on the inside of the packet. I don't want to gross you guys out, but like you can still kind of see it in there. It was just gross. I was in the bathtub when I used it because I like to get in the bathtub and like do a lot of skincare and watch a show or something. I was like, well, I gotta power through so I can like review it and maybe it'll melt away as I'm. So I started rubbing it on my face like, you know, like you would with an exfoliating pad. It was gross in every way. It smelled gross. It pilled. The little shreds of stuff were like all over my face, and I gave up the ghost. I was like, ew, ew, ew. And I'm usually not easily grossed out. And it wasn't like I felt like, oh, this is so gross, I'm going to vomit. It just felt like it was not a skincare product. Like there was something wrong with it. I felt like maybe it had gone off or maybe it didn't go through enough rounds of testing or something. But decidedly, I do not recommend the Lapkos Milk Feel Exfoliating and Cleansing Pad. It didn't have the milk feel that I imagined it would have. It had like a bad milk feel. This was fun to use up. It was a bottle of Bath & Body Works shower gel in the spiced gingerbread swirl scent, which I looked it up and I think it might have been a limited edition scent, not this holiday season, but last holiday season, like a year ago. So I think it was a year-old bottle of Bath & Body Works shower gel that was in the guest bathroom at my aunt and uncle's house. I stayed with them for a couple of days over the holidays. So I was using it in the guest bathroom and it smells so good to me. There's something about it. It's like more than vanilla and more than spiced gingerbread and more, there's something, it just all adds up to be something really, really cozy, and it almost feels like it has like a patchouli undertone. There's obviously nothing about that in the description or anything. It's just like vanilla, gingerbread, cake. It's grounded in something like roasted and richer to me, just in terms of the way that I smell it. So I used it when I was showering in their guest bathroom, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I love that shower gel in your guest bathroom. And they were like, just take it because it's there because we hate it. That's what my aunt was like. No, my cousins were like, our mom can't stand that stuff. She can't stand that like super sweet Bath & Body Works stuff. So that was why it was relegated to the guest bathroom. They were like trying to get it out of the main part of the house. And I was like, gladly, because I knew that I didn't really have anything exciting in this category at home. I guess I had this waiting for me at home. But again, this is very, very, very mild. And I loved the smell of this so much. So I took it home with me. I used it up. I used a lot of it as a bubble bath. Like I put it in the bath while it was running, and it was very gratifying. Lots of bubbles, lots of foam, very cozy, beautiful smell. Loved it so much. I finally used up, I say finally just because a little of this has gone a long way and it's lasted for a very long time. Gosh, it's sticky and gross. I finally used up the Spoiled Bee Honey Cleansing Balm. It says it's a cleansing balm, but I used it as a face mask because it was so honey rich and so waxy that it didn't really emulsify and wash away. What I would do is I would wash my face, I'd get in the bath, I'd wash my face, and then I'd put this on my face and almost like use it as a massage mask. Like I'd massage it in. It was really, really creamy and waxy and made a beautiful sort of honey sheen over the skin. And then I would let it soak in and soak in and soak in while I lay in the bath watching a show or something or watching YouTube. And then I would wipe it off with a damp, warm washcloth so that I could really get most of it off my skin. And then it would usually leave sort of a film, a little bit of residue behind, like a good moisturizing face mask in some cases is intended to do. And my skin really loved it. I think it's mostly just honey. I guess the ingredients are apricot kernel oil, argan kernel oil, and then honey. Oh gosh, and then it's just sweet almond oil and beeswax. So it's 3 kinds of oil, honey, and beeswax. Those are the only ingredients. So you can totally imagine why it would have functioned in the way that I described. But my skin loved it. My skin loved it. I think honey is really good for dry skin, and it's also really good for irritation and acne prone skin. So I was very lucky to be able to use that up. It was another thing that Simbri got in PR and then passed along to me. And I love the name of the company, The Spoiled Bee. How cute is that? Let's talk about the face creams, the night creams that I heroically got through this month. This was another category in which I decided to really zero in on the ones that I felt like I had a chance of panning. So these were the two that were the closest to being empty at the beginning of the year. And I worked really hard during the month of January to finish them up. So this is the Derma E Skin Restore Advanced Peptides and Collagen Moisturizer, and this is the Ioki Plant Stem Cell Cream. This one came from Octoly months ago, and this one Derma E just sent to me. I'm on their PR list, which is so awesome because I am a big fan of Derma E. I love almost everything I do love actually everything I've tried from them. I haven't necessarily tried every single thing that they've sent because some of the things I just, I have so much and it was just better to donate it without opening it. But everything I have tried, I've loved. I've just been so impressed. And they're also a very ethical company. If you look into it, it's just like they do everything right, even behind the scenes. And the people that I've met from Derma E, the people that I've met who work there are so sweet. So it's like maybe the company that I'm the most pleased to be on their PR list, because I also like being able to talk about them on my channel because it's an affordable brand. So that's where this came from. And both of these were excellent for me. Really heavy, really tenacious on the skin overnight. I would wake up with cool, plump skin. I really felt like both of them were nourishing. These were both night creams that I'm really glad that I got the chance to use. I feel like they did good things for my skin. The jars are so big, they take up so much space, and I know it's a kind of a finicky thing and definitely a personal thing, because it's not like the jars aren't beautiful. Like it's kind of like a beautiful and shishi thing to have like a big heavy glass jar of face cream on your vanity, but it's so utilitarian to me. And I am starting to cherish my space so much. I'm tired of having like 4 clunky things. So these were both on my vanity. Then there's one more jar about this size that I still haven't finished the product inside, and then another smaller glass jar. So there were like 4 jars like this on my vanity, just taking up space. There's no plate, you can't like put them away, they're just sitting there. And so just for practical reasons for me, for like aesthetic and workflow reasons, the packaging of these, it's not what I'm gonna be after when it comes time for me to actually make my own decision and like decide which face cream I want to buy and have be like the one that I'm using. It might be one in a jar, but I feel like if there's just one, that'll be better than like having all of these big clunky things clunking around. So that's the reason I was excited to finish them up and turn them into empties, because I felt like that it was just too much. But in terms of the quality of the cream inside, in theory, I was sad to see both of these go because they were both more than sufficient for this role. I will say that Simbri was over recently and she brought me a handful of things that she's gotten in PR that she thought that I might be able to use and test and review. And she so kindly, because she understands my project and she understands my goals this year, she was, instead of being like, here's a bag of stuff for you to like reckon with, she's like, here are the things I brought, but she allowed me to go through and just only take the ones that I actually want to reckon with. And 2 of the things she brought were face creams in jars, like really nice, like beautiful, and one of them was from that new Walmart brand Clean Beauty, which does intrigue me. And so I was a little bit tempted to try them because I was like, well, I could review them, I could report about them, but it was the fact that they're in that packaging, that shape, and I've really hit the wall with wanting to have a ton of those around. Again, if it was just one and it was one that I chose myself and that I knew I would love, that would be different. But having a bunch of them around and having to like handle them and find a spot for all of them, and then feeling like I have to slog through using them up before I can find one that fits more elegantly into my collection, that's a cycle that I don't want to perpetuate. And also with a jar packaging like that, it's one thing to be like, yeah, I'll take it so that I can review it, but that's something that I can't donate to a shelter after I try it because of the style of the packaging. So it makes it harder to decide how I'm going to handle it and how I'm going to like move it through the system of like reviewing some things that I know that I'm not necessarily going to keep here on my channel. So I ended up saying thank you but no to those two things. Meaning like I gave them back to Simbri and she's going to give them to some of her family members or other friends or something like that. And I just wanted to report back about that to you because I feel that was an important moment for me. I was really tempted. I love a face cream. I love a night cream. I was tempted by them. But the reality of working so hard to get done with these two so that I could clear myself some space and have some breathing room, that reality was like a memory at that moment. And I was like, I'm not going to take just right away, like take on two more and be right back where I started. I used another one of these Tainted Love bath bombs from Chasing Unicorns. I had one in my last Empties video and I reviewed it then. Beautiful bath bomb. Love the smell. Love it so much. Love the little crystal inside of it. Love everything about it. Finally finished my Makeup Raw Sauce. Probably my favorite hydrating essence of all time. I have other essences and toners and serums. I have enough skincare that I have like a robust enough routine that I don't feel like I need to replace this. But if it's one of those things where if I was just starting from absolute scratch and just picking one thing for each category, I would pick the Makeup Raw Sauce for the category of hydrating serum or hydrating essence. I really love the way that it makes my skin feel, and I'm grateful to have been able to use up this little bottle. Let's talk about these two Fresh masks. I'm not going to go on at length about Fresh because, again, I think that was my last Empties video as well. I talked about how I feel like when I was in the throes of my shopping obsession, shopping for makeup and skincare, Fresh occupied this kind of confusing place in my mind where I feel as though it's branded as an accessible brand, but the price point is that of a luxury brand. And I mused a little bit about that state of things in my other video in which I talked about the first Fresh mask, the one that I used up first. The Black Tea Instant Perfecting Mask I really love. It's very paste-like. It's truly a paste, and it's kind of cooling, and I did feel like my skin really, really liked it. The Rose Face Mask, in the other video when I was talking about Fresh, I talked about how I don't like this because it's so thin and watery, and I think that, and then I got some comments from people that were like, that's my holy grail, blah, blah, blah. So I had a little bit left after having talked about it and having read those comments, and so I sort of gave it like another chance in my heart as I used up the last little bit of it, because I was like, there's obviously people out there who really love this. And here's what I discovered. One, in terms of how it treats my skin, it is very good. So when I was talking about how I don't like it, it has nothing to do with the effect that it has on my skin. It does calm my skin. It does moisturize my skin. The gel quality of it, my skin does love it. I think that part of the reason I've struggled with this is because I tend to mask in the bath. And the gel is so thin that heat kind of melts it. So if I'm all hot and steamy and my skin is kind of damp and sweaty from the bath and I put this mask on, it's like the heat immediately thins it and it starts running down my face, and then it just feels like a waste. It's like this incredibly expensive face mask that's just running off of my skin. And so I always felt like the formula wasn't very good because I was like, it's so thin that it's like watery gel and it just runs off your face. How can it be so expensive? But if you use it not in the bathtub, like at a normal temperature and a normal level of humidity, the gel is thick enough to be beefy enough that you can like wear it around for a while and it can really give you a good masking experience. So I think it's partly just circumstantial for me. It's not best used in the bath, but the bath is the only time that I really have time to use it or want to use it. And then the texture with the little leaves mixed into it, that just to me is a little bit gross. It's just not my favorite. So, and that stands whether I'm using it in a bath or not. But I did end up with a little bit more respect for the way that this treats the skin than I had before because of giving it a second chance. I knew that was going to happen. Either way, what I said in the first video still stands, which is that no matter how amazing these masks are, and I do think they're great, they're too expensive for me. I wouldn't buy them with my own money. Let me see what I can do about this. It might still not stay because those sticky hooks, I think I said this in another video recently, but we're not allowed to drill into this wall, so we have to use these sticky hooks, and they're usually strong enough to hold stuff up. They're very, very strong, the adhesive. I'll just have to try not to touch it. It fell down because I bumped it, and it might still fall down even if I don't bump it. This is another one of my paintings, by the way. I painted, it's an oil painting. Actually, it's mixed. It's mixed oil and acrylics, and I painted it a long time ago. Back to the empties. Let's talk about these primers that I used up. I did whittle down my primers a little bit at the end of last year, but I also was aware, and I was doing that because I really do have what we call a holy grail primer now, although, you know, no such thing as holy grail. The VDL Lumi Layer Primer, I just use it. I chain use it. I just use it every single day. I never have the feeling of like, oh, I'd like a little variety or blah, 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 blah. If I ever want to change anything up, I use the Glossier Future Dew. So these primers were kicking around in my primer drawer. I have 3 others that I haven't completely used up yet. These were close enough to being empty that I felt like I could at least power through using them up, even though I have a fresh bottle of the VDL one that Simber gave me, and it's just tempting to default to it. They were so almost finished that I was able to dedicate myself to finishing them up. So this is the Makeup Forever Step 1. It's the redness correcting one. It's a very beautiful, nourishing primer. I feel like the price is too high for the size of the bottle. If I were a normal consumer and I was just buying one primer and then using it up, I feel like I would have to repurchase this too frequently for the price to make sense. But in terms of the quality of the product, it's good. It doesn't correct redness as aggressively as this one does. I feel like this one, because it's more white based, this one's, it's kind of like, it's red, or I mean it's green, but it's a little more like clear based and almost like gel-like and cream-like, and it just sort of sinks into the skin. This one, the one from Clarins, the SOS Redness Diminishing Primer, it's a little bit more white-based, and I feel like it really does sit on the surface of the skin like a makeup primer combo, and it really does change the way that the skin reflects light and color. So I liked this one better. This is one of my favorite primers that I've ever used, and it's definitely my favorite redness correcting primer that I've ever used. But I love the VDL one so much that I'm happy just using the VDL one and then using a separate green color corrector. I'm very proud of using these up. I just, you know, I got them, I bought this one myself. I got this one in PR, but I got it full and I just powered through and I used them up. These are like true blue makeup empties. Oh, this is something that's not empty, but it's so old. And I was going through our stuff in our bathroom, and I had kept this when I, you know, did all of my counting and sorting and stuff at the beginning of the year, and I had kept it because it's pretty full. And then when I looked at it again, I was like, you know, how old is that really? I got it so long ago. I got it when we lived in Ann Arbor and the winter was really cold and our hands were really chapped. It's a Mario Badescu Fruit and Vitamin A hand cream, and it is a really thick hand cream, but neither of us ever uses it. And I think it's partly because of the way that it works, like the tube. Joe has a cream that he uses, the one from CeraVe, the body cream, the just big tub. He just uses that, uses it up, buys it again, uses it up, buys it again. And I don't really use creams. I use body oils. And then on my hands, I do have like a balm by the side of my bed that I'm using, but I'm using only it, and it's taking forever because I only use a little bit at a time. So this is just something that's being passed on. It's being ousted from our lives because I feel like it was just going to keep being here and being here and being here and never get touched again. Oh, this is a very exciting thing. The last of my shampoo. This is the first time I have managed to use up all the shampoo since before I started my YouTube channel. So when I started the YouTube channel, I started the Know by Year. I had some random shampoos bumping around. I had enough. This is what it was. I had enough shampoo and I washed my hair infrequently enough that even by the end of my Know by Year, without buying any shampoo for the entire year, I still hadn't used it all up. So I still had shampoo going into my budget year last year. And then my friend Judy sent me some, or maybe she sent it towards the end of the Know by Year. Maybe that was the case, because I know a couple of things came to me in the mail towards the end of that year. So my friend Judy sent me a shampoo and conditioner combo, and it was a big bottle of shampoo. And I only wash my hair, back then it was like every 10 days, now it's once a week. So that ended up overlapping with the shampoo I already had, and that lasted and lasted. And then my friend Jenna, she had bought the IGK 1995 shampoo and she didn't like the smell. So she ended up giving me half a bottle of that. And so that ended up extending and extending. And then I got this at PR from Amika, and that ended up, things just kept like coming and extending the life of my shampoo so that I didn't have to buy my own, which financially is a good state of being. I've gotten to the point emotionally in my life with shampoo where PR shampoo and gift shampoo kept coming and coming and preventing me from allowing myself to buy my own shampoo. Like, that's kind of how I feel about it. At this point, I'm really excited that I have finally used this up and earned myself the chance to buy a shampoo of my very own that I select myself and that I pay for with my own money. I haven't done it yet. This is a good shampoo, by the way. I've talked about it before. The Amika Texture Beach Look Shampoo. It's one of those clay-based texturizing shampoos. I really like that kind of shampoo. I found it to be very, very runny, and I found myself to not only kind of need quite a bit of it because it was so runny. I needed kind of a lot to get a good lather in my hair, but also when I poured it out of the bottle, a lot would come out at once. So I feel like I ended up only getting 6 or 8 uses out of this whole bottle, which is crazy for a shampoo. Like a bottle of shampoo this size should have lasted me 6 months, but it didn't, and it was because it was so runny. So I wouldn't buy that one. The two I'm thinking about are, I'm thinking about trying the Co Cactus Shampoo, which is like a clay-based texturizing shampoo. It's like the Co version of that. I've tried some Co products before and I really love the smells that they use. So that one's sort of on my list of maybe I'll buy it pretty soon, probably like before I have to wash my hair the next time. But there's an Aesop store within walking distance of where I live. Aesop makes these beautiful, luxurious, minimalist, exciting looking, like apothecary bottle looking products. And it's always been sort of a dream of mine to have an Aesop product like in my house. But again, because I've been getting through all of this stuff, I haven't really had the opportunity to, in good conscience, like buy one, especially because they're a little bit pricey. But because I use shampoo so infrequently, one of those big Aesop pump bottles of shampoo would probably last me like a year. So I did go into the store recently and they gave me some sample packets of the Volumizing Shampoo and I tried it, and that's what I most recently washed my hair with, and I do love how my hair looked after I washed it. I actually really did like it and I loved the smell. So it's a toss-up. I'll either be buying the one from Aesop or the one from Co to test. Stay tuned. This was my most recent bottle of Erin's Face's Peptide Sunscreen SPF 30. It's my sunscreen. I'm not even gonna go into it. I love it so much. It's just got this lovely, light, watery consistency that stays on the surface of the skin as you rub it in, and then suddenly it just completely disappears into the skin. It also has peptides in it, and I love that for me. It makes me feel like I don't need to incorporate peptides obsessively into other parts of my skincare routine. It's just a beautiful sunscreen, and also the bottle lasts a really long time because it's a huge bottle. It's a 4-ounce bottle, which is like, I want to say it's like 4 times bigger than most sunscreen bottles. And I think some sunscreen is sold in 1-ounce bottles, but I find more often it's in, especially like bougie high-end sunscreens, it's like 1.5 ounces, but still it's like 3 or 4 times bigger of a bottle than a lot of sunscreen bottles, even though it doesn't quite look like it. So I did order this when I ran out. I did try to buy it with my own money. I placed an order, but Erin ended up sending it to me as a piece of PR instead because she is such a sweetheart and I am a rep for them. I do have an affiliate link with Erin's Faces, and we talk a little bit on Instagram stories. We like know each other even though we've never met in person, and I am very, very grateful. That was incredibly sweet of her, but I would have been more than happy to just replace it, spend the money and replace it as one of my replacement items. It would have been sanctioned by my rules, and to me it's more than worth the money. It's such an important part of my skincare routine and it's so pleasurable to apply, and I also love supporting Erin's Faces. She also sent me a couple of other products, which I'll be talking about very soon when I film my reckoning and reviewing soon. And I am still hoping to film a dedicated Erin's Faces review video. At this point, I've tried a number of their products, so I have a lot to say. This was like in my bathroom. I did use it up. It was a Beauty Blender Cleanser Solid. Oh, there's this little ring in here, but it's not really like usable anymore. The last time I cleaned my brushes, I just decimated this thing, and I remember inventorying it at the beginning of the year. I remember inventorying it along with like my weird brow dyeing products and all the stuff that's in that part of the bathroom cabinet. So that one's been officially used up. This is another face oil that I powered through using up sort of at the beginning of January. I feel like this has been in my empties basket for kind of a long time. It's the one from the Green Room, the Miracle Teas Skin Serum. It has a lot of tamanu oil in it, and when I ran out of the Erin's Faces tamanu oil last month, or I guess it would have been in December, I started going hard with this serum because it's the tamanu oil. My face just loves it, and I love putting it on. So in the absence of the one from Erin's Faces, I used this, and I really wanted to repurchase the one from Erin's Faces, the tamanu oil, but I have so many face oils that I couldn't bring myself to do it. When I placed the order for this, I really wanted to throw that in, and then I was just like, Hannah, just use up some of your other face oils, and then when you start to feel like you've thinned out the pack, then you can order it. but they ended up sending one to me anyway, and they sent the like double-sized bottle. Erin's Faces has started offering like a 2-ounce bottle of the tamanu oil, and I think it's, I mean, it's not cheap, it's not like $10 or something, but I think especially for a hefty 2-ounce bottle of what to me is like liquid gold in skincare, I think it's not that expensive. I'll try to, I mean, I'll link everything down below, and I'll try to remember to link this one as well, even though it wasn't in my empties. But now I have this big, hefty, hulking bottle of tamanu oil, and it actually makes me want to donate even more of the face oils that are in the backups box. So the next time I send out a box of donations, I might actually let go of some of the ones that I had initially planned to test, because with that sitting on my vanity, I kind of feel like, what else do I need? 2 things are left. The Drunk Elephant Tango Multivitamin Eye Cream. I like this eye cream. I think it's effective. Vitamin C in an eye cream in a relatively light and air safe package, and in a good formulation, I actually think that's very effective. I think it's good to my eyes. I think my eyes like it. I think it helps my under eyes stay in good shape. It's just so expensive for how long it lasts. And the same thing happened to this as the bottle that I bought, because I actually bought this as a replacement, I think during my no-buy year. I would not buy this. I didn't buy this one. This one my friend Serene gave to me. And I've had it for longer than the first one lasted, but it was overlapping with another eye cream for me. But I know from experience of having this as my only eye cream that even just using 1 pump a day, it doesn't last long enough for it to be worth the price per year to me. So it's a great formula, but not the right product for me in terms of like buying an eye cream for myself. This is another primer that I used up, is the Smashbox 24-Hour Photo Finish Shadow Primer. I think Daisy sent this to me from the YouTube channel Daisy Beauty. She sent this in a little package of things, and it's great. This was always my eye primer of choice. It's great. I use it up. But I have learned by switching off with the Urban Decay one, that's the one that I have now, applying it with a little wand that the Urban Decay one has, it makes the little bottle last longer, the little tube. This one where you just squeeze it out, I always squeeze out too much, and so I end up using it, like I ended up using this faster than I would have used an eye primer of the same exact size and consistency if it had a wand applicator. So that probably means that this wouldn't be the smartest one for me to buy. But for now, I have the Urban Decay Primer Potion to get through, so I'm not having to worry about it. And that's it. Those are all the empties. Let me count them up. 24 empties that I created since I filmed my last empties video in January. I created them by using up what was in them, with the exception of that Mario Badescu hand cream. But that's great. 24 things that count as stuff out. I'm going to mark them on my stuff out sheet right now. Okay, so I'm still way ahead with stuff out compared to stuff in, but I'm a little bit worried about this month. There are a lot of things in purgatory right now. There are a lot of things I need to reckon with. There are a lot of things that have come my way in PR that I've just started using right away, like the Erin's Faces sunscreen that they sent me and the Erin's Faces tamanu oil. I know there have been some things that have like crept into my life and gotten integrated into my life that I haven't counted as stuff in yet because they haven't done the reckoning yet. So that's probably what I'll film next, and it's just going to be interesting. I'm trying not to be too hard on myself. I'm trying not to force myself to like not keep and use things that I think would be like good for my skin or good for my life or good for my spirit. You know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to be punishing with myself in terms of just squeezing every little last drop of extra stuff out of my life, because I don't think that that would bring me joy. But I am trying to stay ahead in terms of creating more space than stuff. I guess I'm not creating stuff. Creating more space than I am taking on stuff. So I guess you could say I have a little bit of trepidation about the reckoning this month, but that's not this video. That's upcoming. All will be revealed. And it's nice to know that I am kind of staying ahead, or I am doing like, I feel like as good a job as could be expected of me when it comes to making space in my life by using stuff up. I think if I didn't have very many empties, if I felt like I was drowning in too many versions of everything and not managing to pan anything, then I would have even more trepidation about the reckoning. So it's nice to know that I am making strides in this department. And that is it. Thank you so much for watching this watching. Thank you for watching my reckoning. It's not even my reckoning. Thank you for watching my empties video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you are remembering to take extra good care of yourself right now so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.